All right, so we left off with task number 5 or 6 in the last video. The one thing I didn't do was add gutters to it, so that would be something we can do in this particular one. So gutters can be chained across and around. All right, and we're just gonna simply go to the roof tool. We're gonna do roof gutter, and then we're just gonna kind of follow it around. So you just gotta kind of make sure you pick the right spot. Sometimes it'll be a little funny the way it acts, but you can always flip it. And if you still don't see it, just hit escape. Then just do undo one step, and then just try it again. And normally you can pick the edge of the fascia board to get it. And this is one that seems to be acting a little funny, so you might have to zoom in. All right, so there won't be a gutter along through there or right here, so you won't have to worry about that one. We'll put one here and there. And since these two right here are kind of crossing over each other, we're gonna pull them back like so. So they'll just kind of join and make an intersection right there. And from the top, you'll never be able to see that anyway. All right, so that's pretty much all of the gutters that we need. And next, we'll do what's on our task list, and let's go to. So we got task number 6A, and we got 6B already done. So but we technically not have to do 6B. We did 6 with doing the 6A was deleting the old gutter. 6B was adding a gable roof, but we did the shed roof instead, which was a um, roof by extrusion. All right, so we're gonna just kind of pan around and find number 7. So for number 8, well, actually for number 8, number 8 and number 7 is probably about the same. Or 8 and 9 are the same, creating the schedules. And I think I covered that on my last video. So if you go to view, schedules, schedules and quantities, if I'm not mistaken, I walked you through doing that. So if you come over here, if I come over here and then go to schedules, I already have a door schedule and a window schedule. So I don't have to go through those 2 steps on that particular one. So I'm just going to go back to my floor plan level. So we can kind of cross those 2 off the list. And now when you get to the point where you have to delete some of these, I didn't do number 10. All right, so this technically is like it's a vanity sink, but it doesn't have a cabinet to it. So what we're going to be doing is just replacing the whole entire thing. So we're going to remove it. And then we're going to add a component in its place. So we're going to load family. We're going to go to plumbing, MEP, fixtures, and we go to lavatories. And we're just going to pick this lavatory here and then bring this one in and place it here instead. All right, so it looks like our door is going to be running into it. So we're gonna do a little bit of adjustment so our door doesn't run into the lavatory. So we're gonna nudge this door up more this way, and even that's not gonna work too well. So we're gonna have to nudge this down a little bit. And since I'm nudging that down, I think I'm gonna depend upon where this window is sitting and how even it's sitting on the building, depending upon how well I want to move that window as well. Normally the window's above the toilet, so I guess we can go ahead and move it above the toilet. So that's gonna, and originally this door was flipped this way, but I don't really care to have the door flip where I have to walk into this open section here. So I'm just gonna leave it like that. So as long as it misses, then I think we should be okay. And I'm gonna nudge this down just a little bit. So hopefully it's not gonna look too uneven on the exterior. So we're gonna take a look. Actually, that's not too bad. It's off-centered from there, but sometimes you just have to check what you can get with it. In fact, we should check the size of this window. Looks like it's pretty big. It is huge. So I'm going to 36 by 24. And then change the header height back to 7 feet. And it should be one above the kitchen sink about the same. But we'll check this one a little bit later to see if it's running into anything. All right, so we got our vanity. So I'm not going to reload the vanity. I'm just going to copy this one. I'm going to copy it to put it over here. I'm going to get rid of this sink. And I'm going to rotate this one using rotate. And I'll pop this in right here. And it's a little bit of tight squeeze. So we might have to nudge the toilet over a little bit. Not only over, we need to nudge it up because it's touching the wall. Doesn't want to move. I think it's attached itself to the wall. So I have to move it up a little bit. Maybe we can give it a little bit of offset in the properties. Oh, I guess not. So let's just leave it the way it is. All right, so that's got task number 10. All right, so task number 11 is to add wall cabinets to the kitchen. And you can simply do that by loading components, but you may actually already have some in here. So just scroll down to see if there's any wall cabinets already in here. And if not, then you can just add them to it just by loading family. We'll come back out, go to casework. Then we'll do wall cabinets. And I'm going to choose this one. I'm not going to choose any of the ones that have glass. Choose that for cabinet filler. And I'll choose that one. So putting these in, it's just going to kind of depend. So I'm going to put a little spacer there and there. I may not even need it. So I'm not going to spend a video showing you how to put cabinets in, because that's not conducive of what I want to do. But you kind of get the point right there. That, put some cabinets in. Looks like I already given you one in. Well, that's that filler. And you'll just put cabinets in around. You probably want to use a different one for there, but let's pull this back a little bit. Now, looks as though you don't have, there's not any base cabinets in here. No, there's not. So you'll have to give it some base cabinets as well. So you may want to consider taking the cabinets and then moving them, or the countertops and moving it to the outside, and then put some base cabinets in. That'd probably be the easiest thing to do. And you'll have to put a little gap in between there and there. There's always a gap in between the countertop and the cabinets in an appliance such as a stove, just for ventilation, air purposes. And different stoves come in different sizes. All right, so if you want, you can just actually copy and paste from another kitchen to do that part. So I'm not gonna spend time doing that to show you how to do that. But since we already done it in another lesson, but in the end, you are gonna put in an elevation tag, and you'll be putting those elevations on the sheet. So if you go to view, put elevation, take it off building elevation to the interior. I'm just gonna point it toward one of the walls first, and then we'll just put a check mark in the other two where things belong. I'm actually go ahead and do this one too because it looks better. So if you were to double click on any of those tips, it's going to take you to the elevation. So right now we see that we don't really have any base cabinets to go underneath this. So something to consider is to put in some base cabinets. And again, if you don't have any loaded, you have to load them. So we loaded wall cabinets. So let's do base cabinets as well. So the first one I need to do is probably a sink base. And I think that's this one. So you might have to hover over it just a little bit. And the sink unit comes in different sizes. And because you're in this plan view, you're not going to be able to see it. It's not going to let you put it in. So you have to go back to the floor plan view. Then put your base cabinet in. So, and then if you take a look at it from this view, double click there, and then you can see where the base cabinet is. If you need to make some adjustments to it, you can, because it should be relatively even. If you want to size it up or size it down, you can also do the same thing, because that's a 30-inch, but it can go up to a 48. So if you want to go all the way out to the edges, it might be a good idea just to size it up. And then put a cabinet filler right there. All right, so I'm gonna turn off my roof. Just so you can see it. Reading is fundamental. All right. All right, so I'm going to flip this around. The kitchen's a little tight. All right. So it looks like I may have 2 floors here. All right, so that's my kitchen so far. So if you see, there's not really that much, not much to it. So it shouldn't really take you too long to really do the kitchen, especially if you copy it and paste it. All right, so I'm gonna go back to my floor plan. All right, so I think that was number 11. Yeah. So actually, that is actually it for this particular task, 6 through 11. So after you do the kitchen part of it, you are going to take each one of those elevations and you just right mouse click and duplicate this sheet right here. Duplicate view if it lets you. It won't let me. I mean, I think it should be on the sheet. All right, so it appears left and right are not on there anyway. So we're gonna see if we can duplicate it now. Oh, this thing, we can't duplicate it. So we just have to insert a new sheet. All right, so we're just gonna insert a new sheet. (22 by 34) horizontal. So those elevations will go on the sheet, and they are under elevations interior. So that's 1A, 1B, 1C, and 1D. So in order to see which is which, you have to kind of double click on them first, and then pull this down. So we're not doing a full building elevation. And you're going to set your scale for each one of them to 1/2 inch. Right now they're at 1/4. So set each one of your scales at 1/2. Pull these out a little bit. Make sure that you put in your base cabinets and wall cabinets. I'm just demonstrating here, so I'm not completing all of it. All right, so this is an example where I was saying we needed to check that one window. So this window is too big for that space. So we're going to tone this window down a little bit. Go over to 36 by 24. And of course, we'll have to change the header height to 7. All right, so remember in this view, we're going to do a cabinet filler. And possibly a cabinet on that side, depending on how much room you have. All right, so that'll disappear once you put your wall cabinets in. All right, so we're up on 19 minutes. All right, so those are going on your sheet. Interior elevations, and they're just simply drag and drop. All right, and you'll do the same with your restroom or with your bathroom. The master probably doesn't, and well, actually, the master and the family bath doesn't need but one interior elevation. So if you go to view, the new elevation, interior, pointed toward that wall, it should give you a pretty decent view. So that'll be should be 2A, and then this one, when you do it, it'll be 2B. So every time you do a new set of elevations, it's going to create another number higher. So we'll go to view, elevation, elevation interior. We'll make sure it flips so we can see that one. And you can always move this bubble back if it's kind of sitting in the way or sitting on top of something. Just make sure you click on the tip to make sure that it's getting everything you need to see in it. So you may have to grab the line sometimes, because wherever it cut through, that's what it's exactly what it is, cutting through it. So you may not see all of it. So on 2B, or 3A, let's see. So I guess it's 3A since went to another space. All right, so we'll set the scale. And that's odd. I don't see the components in that particular one. It's maybe because this in front of it. So we'll have to go back to that one to look. And here's an example where you can see. It's another example. I don't see all the components. All right, so a lot of times if you don't see the components, that means that they weren't 3D in the first place. And that might be the issue here, is that the components weren't 3D. So you'll have to replace them with 3D items. So if I go back to the floor plan, double click and then click on one of these, and look, yeah, so it wasn't a 3D item in the first place. So you have to replace the tub and the toilet with the 3D item. So they won't, because they're not going to show up in the elevation if you don't. So components, load family, plumbing, architecture, fixtures, water closets, domestic 3D, and you can kind of put this on top of that one. Offset just a little bit from the wall, which is probably why it wouldn't move before. Same thing with the tub. Tub rectangular 3D. All right, so when we go to the tip of this now and double click, we'll see all three components. So you have to do that for both bathrooms, because things didn't kind of show up with 2D. But otherwise from that, so we're right at 25 minutes. So other than that, actually, that's pretty much it. So you can also shorten these up. Well, I need to see below the floor. All right, so those views will go on the sheet with the other two. So it'll be on A2.03. So you'll grab 2A and 3A and drag them over and put them on the sheet as well. like so. This one you'll have to make sure that you put the tub, toilet, and sink in there. But other than that, that's pretty much it. And then you'll export the sheet as a PDF, and then you'll turn it in.